This week, Mitch, I present to you on ABC at 11 a.m. Texas and TCU. Texas a 5-point favorite at Amon G. Carter Stadium. TCU has won 7 of the last 9 against the Longhorns. They have also been very bad the week before and the week after playing Texas. Over that time span, they're sub 500 in both. Well, they're playing right into that with what they did last week. Now, Gary Patterson has dominated this week with the headlines and that storyline about SMU. I am so inclined to go based on history here with TCU. And I have been off at every turn on Texas this year. When I'm on them, they're terrible. When I'm off, they're great. They look so good with Casey Thompson at quarterback. I'm taking Texas. I'm taking Texas by 10 in this game, which means that inevitably Texas is going to lose by 21. But I will pick Texas to cover.
I'm taking Texas as well. For the reasons you stated, I mean, Texas is just looking solid right now, but also TCU's defense just has not been good, I think, in the last couple of weeks, allowing 32 points from Cal, giving up 42 to SMU. They just don't – I don't think they're good enough to stop Texas. This is going to be the best offense they've seen this season.
It is. And SMU has a pretty good offense, too, and look what they did last week. 2:30 on Fox, Mitch, at a place that they call Bill Snyder Family Stadium. 6th-ranked Oklahoma at K-State. Oklahoma is an 11-point favorite here in this game. You may have heard there are questions surrounding K-State's quarterback situation and whether or not Skylar Thompson will be available to play. I'm thinking Oklahoma by 2 touchdowns right now. So I have the Sooners covering. I don't think Oklahoma's totally fixed. I don't think it's going to be a complete flip-the-switch game for Oklahoma. I think it'll be reasonably close and kind of grind it out, but Oklahoma pulls away with a late score to really put it away and win by 14. I think K-State will hang in there with or without Skylar, but I don't think K-State has the capability of winning if Skylar Thompson's not going to play or be, pretty close to 100%. So I'm going to go Oklahoma here.
If Skylar doesn't play, K-State's in big trouble. I'm making my prediction as if Skylar is playing, and I'm saying K-State covers.
Not wins, but covers?
No, they'll get the win, of course.
Okay.
If Skylar plays.
The streak continues. 2:30 on ESPN2 at Milan Puskar Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia. 7.5 points the favorite over Texas Tech. I think this screams West Virginia to me. It's a game West Virginia has to have. Put up or shut up kind of a game. Great moral victory last week against Oklahoma. I mean, really in every sense of the word. Maryland looks very good. That's who beat West Virginia in week 1. But you got to prove it with an actual win here. And this is a beleaguered Texas Tech team that just gave up 70 and lost its quarterback for a while. So West Virginia needs to cover the 7.5 here. I'll take the Mountaineers by 10.
I'm taking the Mountaineers as well, and I'm surprised the line just isn't a little bit bigger on that one. I think that's an easy pick.
It has budged up. It has budged up a little bit. 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Very intriguing matchup here between 21st-ranked Baylor and number 19 Oklahoma State in Stillwater. The Cowboys favored by 3.5, and to be honest with you, this feels like a field goal kind of a game one way or the other, and I would tend to lean Oklahoma State on that. Now the hook, the 3.5 there makes it trickier for me, but because of that, I'll say Oklahoma State by 6. A couple of field goals there for the Cowboys. I think Oklahoma State found some life last week. I think they're getting healthier. They're at home. They'll be more confident. I think home field advantage is going to mean more this year than obviously it did last year, but maybe than the average year just because teams aren't as used to it, especially early on here. So I'm going to take the Pokes.
I don't know. Trap game for Oklahoma State. Baylor on the road in Big 12 play. Just from my personal opinion, I just feel like Baylor has played better football up to this point. Maybe not so much defensively, but offensively, I mean, Bohannon just looks solid. And they're coming off a win against Iowa State. I got to go with the hotter team right now, and that is Baylor. They're the dog, but I'm still picking Baylor to win outright.
Well, somebody needs to pick a dog somewhere because I have not, and I'm realizing here. I
picked a couple.
I'm realizing here now as I look at the final game, like I would like to just pick a dog for the sake of doing it, but that would go against one of my cardinal rules right now. 6 o'clock on FS1 at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. Iowa State hosts Kansas. Iowa State is a 34-point favorite. That is a monster line. A monster line for an offense that has spent a lot of this year scuffling. But my rule, after I got burned earlier this year on Kansas, twice, I believe, early on, until proven otherwise, I'm taking Kansas opponent minus anything. So I'm going Iowa State to cover just because I cannot break my own rule.
I'm actually pretty split on this one. I do believe Duke had a late cover in the game last week against Kansas.
Duke did cover, yep.
Yeah, so that's a big reason I went 5-0 last week. I think I'm going to take the Cyclones as well. Just another hunch. 34 points, that's a ton. And KU had success offensively, but they're going to run into a better defense this time.
All right, we move on to the incoming Big 12 squads here. Houston has won 3 in a row over Rice, Grambling, and Navy. Quite the murderer's row for Houston since the opening loss to Texas Tech. They are at Tulsa tomorrow at 6:30 on ESPN. 4.5-point favorites are the Golden Hurricane. You know what? I need a dog. I'm going to take the road dog here. Tulsa has been competitive with Ohio State and Oklahoma State, but I think Houston has some confidence now, and, I really don't have a whole lot to base this on other than I need a dog, and Houston seems like as good a one as any.
It just feels weird to me that Tulsa is the favorite in this game. I mean, what are we missing here?
Well, it's Tulsa's. They played demonstrably different schedules in terms of difficulty here. So Tulsa lost by 5 at Oklahoma State, and they lost by 21 to Ohio State, but that was a one-score game midway through the fourth quarter.
You know what? I'm going to take Tulsa. Tulsa minus 4.5. Why not?
All right, I talked you into it. Good. Here's a big one. Number 7, Cincinnati. Number 9, Notre Dame. I think this is the biggest game of the Big 12 season for the teams that are not Texas and Oklahoma. Need Cincy to win this. They're 1.5-point road favorites, actually, at 1:30 on NBC. As much as I want Cincinnati to win this game very badly, I worry about how much pressure is on them in this game. Notre Dame, their quarterback situation's not great. Jack Cohn, whether or not he can play or not, I'm not sure it matters. Their quarterback situation is not great. Cincy's got a huge edge there, but man, this feels like a game where there will be too much pressure on Cincy, and Notre Dame, while not great, is certainly solid in playing at home. I'll take Notre Dame. If they're getting 1.5 points at home, I'm going to have to take them there.
I would say, no doubt about it. Notre Dame has played a much tougher schedule pulled away from Wisconsin in Chicago last week. They could easily, I think, pull away from Cincinnati. But I like Cincy to win this game on the road, and they're going to make the statement for the Big 12 moving forward with this victory in Great Bend.
Good. I hope you're right, and I hope everybody laughs at me.
South Bend. What am I doing?
Well,
South Bend.
Whatever, I hope everybody laughs at me for being wrong there. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. Finally, 2:30 on CBS Sports Network. UCF travels to Navy. They, of course, are playing without Dylan Gabriel, their starting quarterback, who was knocked out a couple of weeks ago. UCF is favored by 16.5 at Navy, who has been really bad. 0-3 this year, a blowout loss to Marshall, a blowout loss to Air Force, an 8-point loss at Houston. It stands to reason to me that UCF would be able to cover 16.5 here. That feels like a big UCF win. Tricky always when you're playing Navy, but they've just been so down this year, and we're not very good last year either. I'm going to roll UCF here.
Yeah, UCF big, easy cover.
All right, there you have it. John in Vegas for the week. Go make some money, kids.